Friday morning, good morning, good Friday morning, good morning, good Friday morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Bless up your whole selves on this marvelous, fantastic, fantalocious Friday. It is May 21st, 2021. Happy to have you tuned in this morning. Thank you so much to the folks joining us on the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11, and 20. Good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9, Hot 98.5, 98.7, and all the folks joining us on the Party Grenada and Go to FET Facebook pages. I just realized I big up Hot 98 out of habit. Whichever platform you're tuning into the program this morning, happy to have you. Thank you so much for choosing us to start your day. Appreciate it to the fullest. To all our viewers and listeners across the Caribbean, whichever part of the region you are, for North as Jamaica, for South as Guyana, all the islands in between, I am happy that you chose us this morning. Thank you so much. Bless up your whole Caribbean selves. A spicy 473 Grenadian morning to each and every one of you. And all our viewers and listeners from across the rest of the world, whichever part of the world you are, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Hope you will have a good day, are having a good day, have had a good day. It is 21 minutes on to the hour of 7 o'clock. I'm going to tell you why I'm wearing purple specifically today in a short. But in the meantime, let's see what the word of the day is. This morning's word of the day is copious. Copious. It's spelled C-O-P-I-O-U-S. It's an adjective which means a yielding something abundantly, plentiful in number, full of thought, information, or matter, profuse or exuberant in words, expression, or style, or present in large quantity. Copious. It dates to the 14th century during the era of the English known as Middle English. Like most terms entering the language then, it comes ultimately from Latin, from the word which means abundance. The latter also features in the history of opulent, which means wealthy or luxurious. The word of the day this morning is copious. It's spelled C-O-P-I-O-U-S, or it can also be pronounced copious, and it means a yielding something abundantly, plentiful in number, full of thought, information, or matter, profuse or exuberant in words, expression, or style, present in large quantity. It's an adjective. An example of the use of the word: Jacqueline took copious notes during the long lecture and shared them with the rest of her study group. Another example of the use of the word: girls could only achieve with copious layers of mascara, and even then they need the flurry of thick black lashes. The word of the day this morning is copious or copious. It's spelled C-O-P-I-O-U-S. It's an adjective which means yielding something abundantly, plentiful in number, full of thought, information, or matter, profuse or exuberant in words, expression, or style, present in large quantity. All right, and as you go about your fantastic Friday, the thought of today and the thought for the weekend is: shine your beautiful soul so brightly that people crave your vibes. Shine your beautiful soul so brightly that people crave your vibes. Set up all yourself right for the whole weekend. Be nice to each other. Love each other. Show appreciation where you need to. Just be nice. Be a positive self. Be an upbeat self. Do what you need to do. Make other people happy as well. Sometimes you just need to spread the joy. Let your soul shine brightly. Whatever way that it shines, whether it's making people laugh or being your caring usual self, let it shine this weekend. And let people crave your vibe. Let people want to be around you because of the energy that you bring. So the thought for today and for the weekend: shine your beautiful soul so brightly that people crave your vibes. I like it. All right, now for me to tell you why I'm wearing purple specifically for today. It is POP. P-O-P. Put on Purple. And this day is specifically in place to recognize lupus. It's Lupus Awareness Month, and today specifically you're asked to wear purple to show your support for the people who suffer from the disease, as well as to show your support for being able or willing to learn more about it. Lupus strikes mostly women of childbearing age. However, men, children, and teenagers develop lupus too. Most people with lupus develop the disease between the ages of 15 to 44. The fact remains that lupus is a devastating and life-changing disease that currently has no cure. 65% of people with lupus lists chronic pain as the most difficult aspect of their disease. Today, we put on purple to show that we want to raise lupus awareness. So go purple to end lupus and encourage your family and friends to do the same. So ensure you put on something purple today, whether it's in your hair, your top like I am wearing, your lipstick like see my lips? It's purple, your pants, your shoes, anywhere you want to put on purple, just pelt it on and show your support, raising awareness for lupus. It is Lupus Awareness Month, and today it's Put on Purple. Make lupus visible. Set up all your whole selves. There are a lot of people, maybe not many that you may know. I know of at least 3 people who have been afflicted by lupus. So this is a day to raise awareness, show your support for them. So put on purple. Put on purple today, and feel free to do it any other time that you want to. Show your support. All right, I think that is it that I have to share. It's now time for us to get ready for the morning edition of news. For those of you on our for those of you on radio, morning edition of news. On those of you on our visual platforms, we bring you highlights of last evening's newscast. The song usually for a Friday is Weekend by Skinny Fabulous, but that Boise playing in the background have made a different kind of element. Now, this morning in the showroom, we are expecting Cultural Ambassador Richardo Keynes Douglas. He is expected to be in the showroom in just about half an hour. Hopefully he's well enough. He took his jab yesterday, so hopefully the side effects are not that major and he can be with us this morning. So stick and stay. Good morning, Grenada. We'll be right back.
Government has been rocked by another high-profile resignation that is closely linked to the Citizenship by Investment program. Following the resignation of Percival Clouden, who resigned as Chief Executive Officer in February, Senator Christopher Diali handed in his resignation as Chairman of the Board of Directors just last week. Now, the latest resignation is also closely tied in with Grenada's CBI program, with the rationale being given as anti-business policies. Jared Joseph has the details.
Warren Newfield is the latest to hand in his resignation on Thursday as Ambassador at Large and Consul General to Florida on behalf of the government of Grenada. In a letter dated May 28, 2021, addressed to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Oliver Joseph, the developer behind Kimpton Corona Bay Resort cited anti-business policies as the reason for his resignation. The letter reads, and I quote, "Unfortunately, conditions in Grenada have changed drastically in the last few years. The country's leadership, previously having the country's best interests at heart, was welcoming to foreign investment and economic development, but has been transformed into an anti-business regime." End of quote. He cited the breaching of the agreement with the controlling shareholder of Grenada as an example, with government having to pay $65 million to WRB. And I quote, "It is little wonder that the 2020 survey by the World Bank assessing ease of doing business in countries globally, Grenada ranked number 146th out of 190 nations. I have seen this deterioration firsthand. My business interests are hardly the only ones to be damaged by the regime's disregard for investor rights. The government has breached agreements with other businesses. Other than the recent fiasco with Grenada, one only needs to look at the government's attempt to expropriate the Rex Hotel. End of quote. Newfield, in his resignation, says, as a Grenadian citizen, the country and its people have become extremely dear to him, and he has undertaken his duties with a strong sense of responsibility. GBN's attempts to speak to Mr. Newfield proved futile. Calls to his office in Miami went unanswered, and an employee at his local office for the project indicated that he is off the island. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
In a statement issued this evening, government, in response to the allegations leveled by Warren Newfield, said the accusations are seen as a clear attempt to hurt the country and the government. Government asserts that there was investigations into matters relating to Newfield's Kimpton Kawana Bay project, which triggered the anti-business allegation. In light of its concerns, government said it has already approached an independent auditor to investigate the matter. Government said it is keen to ensure that all money invested into projects under the Citizenship by Investment program are in fact used in accordance with the provisions of the country's Citizenship by Investment Act. In so doing, government further seeks to protect the integrity of the CBI program, ensuring greater accountability and transparency in the execution of projects and safeguarding the resources of investors. GBN will continue to follow this developing story. One union official is concerned with what he sees as a new trend adopted by some employers within recent times. He says that the practice raises red flags that indicates trouble for Grenada. More in this Rena Thomas report.
Secretary General of the Bank and General Workers Union, Joseph Mitchell, says that the practice of some employers using the effects of COVID-19 to mistreat workers is one that has become prominent in the workforce. He explains that some employers are using the excuse as a means of justifying actions that are highly unjust to workers.
It's a situation that we're seeing a lot now in the industrial climate, and it's something that we are really, really concerned, this current trend that employers are, using this whole COVID thing to get out of, their responsibilities and dodging what they're supposed to do. And we are calling really on employers to if you're going to, sever workers, you must stand the responsibility of payment.
The trade unionist says that while the situation raises many red flags, he is not surprised as some employers are only reflecting the action of the public sector.
In my time of growing up, they say charity begins at home, and the government really must be the leader in all of this, right? Because a lot of the employers will really piggyback on the government's trend. And what we have been seeing over the last few months, especially with the public sector unions and workers, and the way these workers are being treated, it shows a total lack of respect and discourtesy for workers. And it's not surprising now to see that the private sector unions is suffering the same fate, right? So it must be a time where labor and employers find a middle ground to resolve some of those issues, because unstable working environment certainly is not going to be good for the country, and is going to impact the country negatively economically.
Mitchell says, regardless of the challenges facing the union, will continue to fight for workers' rights. Meanwhile, the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce says vaccination for COVID-19 must remain a personal choice, a fundamental right that must be respected. GCIC, in a statement issued on Wednesday evening, explained that while it welcomes the reopening of the tourism sector and understands that the vaccine is effective in protecting citizens and visitors from serious illness associated with contracting the virus, people must have a choice. The statement went along to say, and I quote, the health authorities must act with urgency in continuing to address vaccination fears and concerns of the population. The Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce recognizes that even in the face of the illness and death statistics from within the region and around the world, there will be individuals who choose not to accept vaccine for COVID-19. These persons must be respectfully accommodated within our workforce and society. The Chamber implores all to continue to follow the established protocols that have served Grenada pretty well. For GBN News, I am Rena Thomas reporting.
Attorney at Law Anselm Clouden is the latest to push against employers' request for employees to be fully vaccinated if they wish to return to their jobs.
Employers cannot, without more, force anyone to take a vaccine if they decide that it is toxic and deleterious and would affect their health, especially where they may have pre-existing conditions.
Attorney at Law Anselm Clouden is appealing to Grenadians to not ignore the Constitution, which gives them the right to choose whether or not they want to take the COVID-19 vaccine without jeopardizing their jobs.
The Constitution of Grenada guarantees in Chapter 1 to every Grenadian, irrespective of class, social standing, what have you, the right to work. And therefore, that is a constitutionally protected right. I have heard the Prime Minister speak so irresponsibly on the last occasion, speak with respect to workers that are not vaccinated. The employer can mandate that they take the vaccine before returning to work, notwithstanding that they have been employed for a good many years.
He is appealing to the labor unions to not turn a blind eye to the current trend of employers giving employees an ultimatum with regards to vaccination and work.
It is my respectful recommendation that labor and business, and this is where the labor unions must show some concern and take up the struggle so as to avoid workers from losing their jobs as a result of not taking an unsafe vaccine, and this is the only vaccine we have here. So that it is callous, it is irresponsible of businesses to insist that employers, both public and private sector, must be vaccinated before they can resume their employment.
In other news, just around 3:30 this afternoon, GBN received reports that the leader of the opposition, Tobias Clement, was arrested by police. The nature of his arrest, we were told, was for driving an unlicensed vehicle. When contacted for clarity, the opposition leader said he was not arrested. However, he was ticketed as his vehicle registration had expired. He said it was a misinterpretation of the month, thinking it was due for June, when in fact it was May. In the GBN television news on Wednesday, we aired a report concerning a taxi driver who has been charged for breaching the COVID-19 regulations. That taxi driver is affiliated with the Airport Taxi Association, as was reported in the news feature. In processing the report, the GBN inadvertently included file footage that showcased members of the National Taxi Association. The GBN wishes to clarify that members of that association were in no way connected with the breach of the regulations. We sincerely apologize to members of the NTA for any inconveniences which may have been caused as a result of our inclusion of file footage showcasing its members. The joint negotiating team of the Public Workers Union and the Technical and Allied Workers Union says it welcomes a more concrete proposal from the government's negotiating team. The unions continued their conciliation talks with Labour Commissioner Cyrus Griffith on Thursday, together with the government's negotiating team. The GNT has since promised a review of their finances in June rather than pay whenever the fiscal space allows or in December. We get details in this report.
Based on the evaluation of government's finances at the end of June, a definitive date for the payment within the fiscal year of the 4% increase in salaries will be given. President of the Public Workers Union, Brian Grimes, who is part of the joint negotiating team, says they expect payment at the end of May, however offered flexible payments as late as July, providing that government makes all workers permanent. The PW president notes that Labour Commissioner Cyrus Griffith indicated that he will give a decision next Tuesday.
I also want to make it clear to public officers that the JNT stated to the GNT, the government negotiating team, that we expect all workers within the bargaining unit, including contract officers who have been disenfranchised in salary increases over the last couple of years, should be, and we have a strong expectation that they should be included in the salary increases whenever that decision is made and that resolution comes to fruition.
The union leader says part of their mandate going forward is ensuring that contract officers are not disenfranchised.
I also want to say to workers, despite the slight move that we have made thus far, the slight move if you want to call it that, we are asking workers to continue to wear their red every day, to continue to wear their union jerseys until we sign on the dotted line and that 4% increase is realized, where cost of living is sky high.
He says the JNT believes an end of May payment is possible.
It's the 20th. We know it's possible because, as one of our negotiators stated clearly in 2018, when it was time to dock salaries, they enlisted the help of individuals to dock the salaries of workers at a late time in the month. So on the other end of the spectrum, if they want to add salaries, a 4%, that can also be done. It's not impossible.
The joint negotiating team is hopeful that the issue does not go to mediation or arbitration, while noting that industrial action won't be removed from its arsenal in the fight for the 4% increase in salaries. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
Leader of the government negotiating team, Minister Oliver Joseph, reiterating government's commitment at arriving at a resolution with the Grenada Union of Teachers, believes a resolution is close at hand. The GNT and the leadership of the GUT met in mediation with Labour Minister Peter David on Tuesday. The 2021 non-payment of the 4% increase in salaries is the basis of the dispute, and Minister Joseph admits that both new proposals put forward by the two parties involved are workable.
And I think we are very close to finding a solution. I need to go back to Cabinet on Monday with the GUT proposal to get Cabinet sign off, because I'm there representing the government, meaning that I must go back to Cabinet. The Minister of Labour has promised that after Cabinet has decided and inform the GUT, he will reconvene. Both parties will come back before him before the end of next week so that we can work out a solution.
He adds that for the first time, he has seen a glimmer of hope toward a settlement. It's now time to take a peek through the GBN ISA lens. The irony of twins twinning. A pair of twin wax apples as photographed by our reporter. Our citizen journalist said they have never seen a twin wax apple before, much less two. Send us your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp on 405-3052 or our other social media platforms. Welcome back. Students at the Telescope Primary School and the St. Andrews Anglican Primary School have completed their participation in the Resilient Island project with a parade on Thursday. More in this report.
The Resilient Island project aims to raise awareness and educate students on how to integrate ecosystems and community-based approaches to enhance climate change adaptation in Grenada and more so their communities. Students were educated through hands-on activities and field trips, and today created projects to represent what they have learned. One student shared what he has accomplished.
I need to draw a mangrove tree. Mangrove protects the coast from big waves, storms, etc.
Disaster Management Coordinator at the Grenada Red Cross Society, Luan Maguire, explained their position in this venture, citing the approaching hurricane season.
We are here now to alert the students, let them know that as they are doing now, the planting of the mangrove is a very good step in eliminating the erosion of the beach and the sea, and also to block off some of the high waves that may impact significantly on the lives of persons, affecting their livelihood. good. Prior to the hurricane season, it's always good to educate persons, educate schools, conduct training. So in the event of disaster, persons are going to be trained and aware. So that awareness and sensitization is what we are doing here today at the Telescope Primary School.
Nuala Frederick is the climate adaptation specialist with the Nature Conservancy Eastern Caribbean program. Frederick says the program aims at strengthening people's resilience to the impact of climate change through the use of nature. They are operating, she says, in the Grenville Bay area of Grenville, Telescope, Sobeys, and Marquis.
So one of the things that we're doing is actually mangrove restoration, and last week and this week, it's culminating this week, Telescope Primary has been one of our schools. We did do St. Andrew's Primary before, but we're culminating this week with Telescope Primary, you know, just working with the students, making sure that they understand a little bit more about the environment, a little bit more about climate change, what the impacts of their actions are, what the impacts are on the environment, but also how they can use nature to benefit the environment, to make the environment a lot better, to make our island a lot safer. Most of our interventions are focused along the coast, but it is focused along the coast to ensure that not just the persons living along the coastline, but persons in the inside as well can really enjoy the beauty of our Grenadian coastline. Really.
Telescope Primary School's activity was done in 2 phases. Field trip where the students visited Telescope Bay and held a cleanup drive, as well as a teaching component focusing on mangroves, community-based approach, preservation and conservation of ecosystem. The second phase entailed planting trees on the school grounds to tie in with World Earth Day as part of the activities. The St. Andrew Anglican Primary School held a special assembly and parade about climate change and adaptation focused on resilience within the ecosystem. The Resilient Island Education activity was held in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, the Grenada Red Cross Society, and the Nature Conservancy. Certificates were presented to each participant. Christelina John, GBN News.
100 families on the Sister Isles of Carriacou will benefit from the recently handed over Chinese low-income housing units. A ceremony was held to mark the occasion. Details in this report.
Chinese low-income housing units in Dumfries, Carriacou are now complete and have been handed over. Minister for Social Development and Housing, Delma Thomas, was present for the ceremony.
Chinese low-income houses, this completion ceremony marks 1,000 houses across not only Carriacou but also Grenada. Indeed, the provision of housing has been a central policy planned by this Kit Mitchell administration, and of which I continue to be more than a proud member. We have here a 100 high-quality unit, and I want to high-quality unit. And so 100. And earlier on, my sister colleague reminded me that I first said that Carriacou is a small place, so let's give them 70. I'm confessing.
She urged those who will occupy the units to take care of them and not let it deteriorate, in her words, into a wild jungle of unkempt surroundings. Minister Thomas urges individuals to maintain the environment, making it one that is worthy of living, being called home, and worthy of raising children. And his ambassador to Grenada, His Excellency Wei Hongtian, highlighted the many areas his country has rendered aid to Grenada, including housing.
Most important fiscal facility delivered by China to Carriacou and Petit Martinique people is this housing project located in Dumfries. So 100 housing units may not be big in quantity. It is our sincere goodwill, and we hope this project could render some help for the improvement of livelihood of people in need in Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
Minister with responsibility for Carriacou and Petit Martinique affairs, Kinja Maturin Stewart, remembered the late Elvin Nimrod as the person who lobbied for those houses and the selection of the site. She expressed her appreciation to the People's Republic of China while reminding locals that the housing units are not free.
As this project would not only mark a new beginning in the lives of so many, but it would also be a life-changing experience for the many families that are poised to benefit from the provision of adequate, comfortable, affordable, and decent housing accommodation that this very project will offer. That a child is more likely to have better outcomes in life if they are brought up in a safe and warm home. In fact, every social indicator, including education and health, improves when someone has a stable place to call home.
Selena John, GBN News.
Trends come and go, but jewelry is forever in style. Give a gift that lasts a lifetime. Diamond Intercontinental have diamond jewelry, gold and silver jewelries, engagement rings, wedding bands, chains, bracelets, and so much more. They also carry brands such as Anne Klein and Guess. Why wait? Visit Diamond Intercontinental Jewelry Store at the Esplanade Mall. Call 440-231234. The number again, 232-1234.
Introducing Color by Sissons. 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 Color by Sissons.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, Daisy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex, or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
Are you looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements, or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 418-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Foliage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
See the world and let the world see you with the best brands on eyewear from Quartz Optical. Come in today and get free eye exams, free blue block, and up to 20% off frame and lens purchases. Need sunglasses? With any purchase, get up to 80% off your sunglasses. Plus, with Ready Finance, you can shop today and pay $0 for 30 days. Visit us today at Quartz Young Street or call us at 435-2958 or visit us online at www.quartzoptical.com. Quartz Optical. Value you can see. Terms and conditions apply.
State-of-the-art Ultratech gasoline and diesel. Available only at Rubis stations.
See the savings with Spice-Isle Optical. Don't break the bank to get your focals. Classy, affordable eyewear. Service optimal. Our experienced technician works like a magician. Trust your sight with our company's vision, where your satisfaction is ever our mission. Mobile services, family packages, economical prices. Spice-Isle Optical is where the deal is. Spice-Isle Optical is located in Queen's Park, St. George's. For more information, contact us at 449-1588 or 440-0353.
Bruv. Hello? I can't see you. What's good? But I can't even hear you. Yo. Hello? Hello? Ah! Okay, I see you. I'm good. I'm coming in. Ah. There you are.
Live the experience right now. Enjoy high-quality video calling today. Stream, upload, and share with Digicel super fast LTE network. Visit our stores today and live the experience today. Digicel.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get going.
We are taking pride in outstanding performance. We are encouraging and recognizing innovation. We are committed to continuously doing things better, with enhanced services coming soon. Yes, we are here for you. Check us out today for your financial need. GUT Credit Union, it's where you belong.
5 things you need to know about self-isolation. Stay home. If you are told to self-isolate, it means staying at home, not going to work, school, or other public places, and you should not have any visitors. Separate yourself. If you live with others, then you need to stay in a well-ventilated bedroom with the door shut. If you have to share a bathroom, then use it after everyone else. Don't share towels and toiletries, as this may put others at risk. Call ahead. If you develop symptoms such as a fever or cough, then seek advice first by calling the Ministry of Health's hotline at 538-4787 or 458-4787. Please do not show up at a medical center or hospital, as this may put others at risk. Take care with waste. If you test positive, your waste should be double bagged and disposed of separately. Create a buddy system. If you live on your own, you can plan with friends and family to check in with each other and run essential errands if one becomes sick. Once sick, they should leave groceries on the doorstep. Why it's important. COVID-19 causes a mild illness for 4 out of 5 persons. Self-isolating will help protect the older generation and those who may have underlying health problems from getting infected.
Some islands down in the south you don't know nothing about.
ethnic, 3 islands so unique. 3 different islands and 3 different parts, interested to explore. So I urge you, don't stay too long, come and see where we all belong. Come and see for yourselves, come behold what we sell. What a country and tell. Not just beautiful beach, all the culture that's rich. You'll enjoy your friendship. Come and see for yourselves, come behold what we sell. What a country and tell. Not just beautiful beach, all the culture that's rich. You'll enjoy your friendship. Come and see for yourselves, come behold what we sell. What a country and tell. Not just beautiful beach, all the culture that's rich. You'll enjoy your friendship. Come and see for yourselves, come behold what we sell. What a country and tell. Not just beautiful beach, all the culture that's rich. You'll enjoy your friendship. Our friendly people, to tell you our history.
Long ago, the strength of Grenadians was in their arms as they worked the lands to get food for the table. Nowadays, most Grenadians' plate is packed with lots of starch and meat, little or no vegetables, plenty fried foods, and they wash that down with something sweet while sitting in front of screen. Hard work and exercise seem to be out of style, and lifestyle diseases are becoming the fashion of the day and claiming many lives. Let's make a change to live longer. Let us grow and enjoy a variety of natural and safe, fresh vegetables and fruits every day. Use our local fresh seasoning and spices to make our traditional dishes healthier and avoid highly processed foods, snacks, and drinks. Drink more water every day to help your body.
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada, 20 minutes after 7 o'clock. Thank you to those of you who stuck with us. Thanks for your patience. Those of you just joining us, happy to have you. You're just in time to step into the showroom. This is where we feature our local talent and give them the platform to share their stories, take us way back to when they started to some of the latest happenings. And this morning I have joining me is a cultural ambassador. Hold on. The list is long. A cultural ambassador, a playwright, a director, and this morning I'm learning he's also a dancer. He has real things going on. Mr. Richardo Keynes Douglas is our guest this morning. Good morning, Uncle Ricky. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Blossom. Good morning. I'm doing fine, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Good morning to all your listeners.
Appreciate it so very much for joining us. I know yesterday we were keeping our fingers crossed because of yesterday, so I'm grateful and happy that all is well and you're able to join us this morning.
Yeah, praise God. Yes.
Amen. All right, Mr. Keynes Douglas, let's look at your career. You have one of the most colorful careers when it comes to theater and drama and the art form. So take us back to the very beginning of when Richardo Keynes Douglas made his entry into the industry.
Okay, this is about over 50 years ago. This year is going to be 45, going on to 45 years. Next year, 45 years, I'm in the professional world. As a little boy, I've always wanted to be in the theater arts, right? I remember going to school and I never wanted to learn chemistry and Spanish and all that kind of stuff. And I'll be in the back drawing little designs and writing plays and stuff, So since I was a young boy, that's what I wanted to do. And I was very fortunate to have a father who recognized that. I remember at 17 years old, I formed my own dance company in Grenada. So that was in the 70s. That was in 1970. And it was called the Spice Follies. And I had a group of dancers. And I performed and I produced my own show at the GBSS Auditorium. The premier at the time, Sir Eric Matthew Gary, was the patron of the evening. We were sold out. And at that young age, I produced my own show. So, I was like 17 years old. And it was $3 to get in those days. So I've been in this thing for a long time. I remember and how I formed the dance company. When musicals used to come to Grenada and like Sweet Charity in the movies, I would go to Empire Cinema and I would sit and I would watch those movies over and over and over and copy what they did in the movies. And then I'd come and teach my dancers what I saw in the movies, So it was really, really since that time. But my father realized I didn't want to be in school in Grenada and I wanted to be an actor and dancer and stuff. So he was, in those days, it was hard to tell your dad you want to be an actor, He's either a lawyer or a doctor or something like that. And he said, no, if you want to do that, go away to study it. So I went to Montreal, the theater school there, and it was an intense 3-year program. You work 6 days of the week, from 9 o'clock in the morning until all 5, 6, 7, 8 at night in the theater, learning all about diction and clarity, the study of the characters and theater and plays, etc. The whole realm, dance, music, song. So you're just engrossed in that for 3 years. And then after I graduated theater school in 1977, I got my first professional theater gig in Montreal. I was working with a director from Romania. He hired me as one of the lead actors to do Caligula. And then after I did that, I auditioned and I was in the company of Le Ballet Jazz, one of the top leading companies in Montreal. And I was in a class, taking classes in dance and tap. And then the head, Eva Bonjensky, she came and they would walk around classes, the head of the company, and they would look and see the potential in young dancers. And then she saw me and then she offered me a scholarship to be with Le Ballet Jazz. So I started dancing with Le Ballet Jazz. But deep down, I didn't really want to be a dancer. I wanted to be an actor who dances and sings. So that same year, that's in 1977. In 1978, Stratford, they asked me to audition for Stratford, which is the top theatre company in Canada, Stratford Shakespeare and Company. And I auditioned and I got into Stratford. And so I left the Le Ballet Jazz and I got into Stratford. And there I was working. It's a company of 200, the whole company's 200, and actors, maybe about 90 actors, because it's a whole season, a 9-month season of 15 plays you would do, Shakespeare musicals, etc. And I started working with people like Maggie Smith and Peter Houston. All these are people who won Academy Awards, and working with the top directors in the world, like Robin Phillips. So, and Lotfi Mansouri, who is the director of the Metropolitan Opera in New York. So this was my teaching. This is where I learned all of this stuff, So I was surrounded by this kind of education in the theater. So I worked with some of the best in North America. So after that, I left that and I went to New York again and I studied with Alvin Ailey, dance company, Phil Black Tap Studios. And then I came back to Toronto. And then I started auditioning for musical theater. So I'm in that genre as well, where I do musical theater. And then I started saying to myself, listen, I want to do something that represents me. Because in Canada, sometimes with your accent in the 70s and 80s, it was hard to get work, right? And I got an agent. And as I said to the agent, I don't want to play any pimps or slaves or stuff unless it's a positive stuff. So I got an agent and I started auditioning and I started getting lead roles. Like in The Boyfriend, I did Broadway plays, Sophisticated Ladies, The Misbehaving. And then I started saying, I need my voice to be heard. The little boy that grew up in Grenada, that ran on the beach and stuff like that. So I started writing my own stories, my own plays and stuff. And the first play I wrote was called The Obia Man. And it was about a young man coming from Grenada into Canada, but finding it hard to get into show business, right? And it was a cast of 10, 15 people, and it was directed by one of the leading Black directors, Jeff Henry, in Toronto from Theatre Fountainhead. And it was a big hit. I was nominated for one of the top awards in Canada, like the Tony Awards, but it's called the Dora Awards. And so that was my first play, and it's a musical. And I write my own music. I have over 70 songs I've written in musical theater, Grenadians don't know that. So I've done music, all genres, from jazz to calypso to Latin to everything, but it's more in the musical theater genre. And then from that, I started writing my own stories. And that's how God works, because when you find your voice, and I keep telling young people that, don't try to be Rihanna, don't try to be Michael Jackson, don't try to be me. You find your voice, and that is what people want to know, who you are. Before I was trying to fit in, to quote the society of Canada, of all the actors, and I wasn't being myself. So when I started writing my own, finding my voice, started writing my own stories. And Peter Zosky, which is the head of, had a program on CBC, which is called The Morning Show. He asked me to be on the show with one of my stories, The Ski or Not to Ski. And that's how God works. The Ski or Not to Ski is about a Caribbean person going skiing for the first time. So it's a comedy, right? It's about a 10-minute long monologue. And the head of CBC was on the highway coming into Toronto. And of course, he listens to CBC because he's the head of CBC. And he heard my story. He said he had to park up on the side of the road because he's laughing so much. So when he got into his office, he said, find that guy. Find that guy. And that is how God works. Because of my voice, I found my own rhythm and who I am. He offered me my own national radio show in Canada called on CBC, called Cloud9. And it ran for 4 years. So exactly. And then because of that, I was offered my own Sunday Arts Entertainment TV show on CBC National Radio. So these are things a lot of people don't know, So from that, I started writing books now, because I started doing keynote talks for schools and seminars and stuff. And I went to this school. It's very important to know this and there were like maybe 300 white kids, but maybe 15 black kids, in the school. And one of the kids put up their hand and says, "Excuse me, sir, do you know a story of a black princess?" And my heart sank, because at the time, I didn't know any stories of black princesses, but there are African stories. But she wanted me to tell a story about a black princess, so all the other kids can know a story that there is a black princess who looked like her. She knew all the Cinderellas, the Snow Whites, the Sleeping Beauties, but she never heard a story about a princess that looked like her. Like you, Blossom, like me, a prince that looked like me. So that's when I started to write, and I wrote for kids. And I said, I'm going to start writing. And the first story I wrote was The Nutmeg Princess. And I set it in Grenada. So now, and then it became a hit in Canada. The schools picked it up, it's in schools. And then I was asked to make it into a musical, for the Young People's Theatre. Again, it's the leading children's theatre in Canada, a family theatre. And I wrote The Nutmeg Princess into a musical. It's a song, 12 songs, and a 2-act play. And it won the top Canadian award for the Dora Mavor Award for the best musical of 1999. And this is a story about Grenada, the magic of Grenada. So all kids know about the Nutmeg Princess, Snow White, and Cinderella. So when I come to Grenada, or you ask any children in Grenada, they should be able to say, if you ask them, tell me a story about a princess. They shouldn't have to go to Ariel or Cinderella or Snow White. The first thing that should come to the mind, hey, we got a story called The Nutmeg Princess. So that's a positive imaging I've tried to put into my work. And most of my work always has a link to the Caribbean in everything I do, somehow, because that is my rhythm. So from that led to like 15 books. They've been translated into 5 different languages across the world. So basically that's it. And I've written plays, and then I decided I wanted to come back to Grenada. So I gave up I was at my top in Canada at the time in the radio industry with Cloud9. And we used to travel right across the country. So it was wonderful. For 4 years, I was just traveling on trains and planes, and we going here and there and doing all these wonderful shows and stuff. And then the urge, and since I left Grenada, I've always come back every year. I've made that promise to my mother. Because I got to tell young people, even when I was in school, studying in Canada, my father couldn't afford to send me money to study. So I had to get a job. I used to work at the Ritz-Carlton in Montreal as a dishwasher, right? To make money, for my singing classes, for my dance classes, pay for my fees, they have to pay for my rent, And they used to call me the singing dishwasher, because I'd be singing, I'd be doing dishes and stuff and singing all the Broadway tunes and stuff, So it's hard work. It's hard work to get to where you are. People always see you do stuff and they say, oh, I can do that, but they don't understand the journey. The work that you have to do together. People see a beautiful flower, but they don't understand the manure and the digging and the watering and the pruning and stuff that has to happen before you enjoy the beautiful flower. So I came back to Grenada, It's going back and forth. I come for 6 months. I mean, my both homes are here. Canada's been excellent to me, but my first 17 years in Grenada has been incredible. My role models are my parents. There's nobody else but my parents. They were incredible. My father was in show, basically. He loved to play the saxophone. He was an engineer. He would tap dance and stuff like that. At nights, we'd sit in the veranda and tell stories, and we'd have dancing nights here when mom and dad, we'd all dance together as kids and stuff. So I grew up with my brother Paul. We all had these storytelling stuff. And there's a lot of laughter in my house, So I grew up with that, So when I came back, I wanted to. That came back in 1993 to direct the Queen Show. They asked me to come back to direct the first Queen Show, and that's when I introduced Moko Jumbies to Grenada, right? Because at those days, we had Moko Jumbies in the 30s and 40s, but some of it had died out, right? So when I did the Queen Show in 1993, I brought in Moko Jumbies because they're from Barbados. Right, so I started doing Moko Jumbies. Then I went back and I came back. And when I came back to do Reflections, remember the 25th anniversary of independence. And when I came back, it was wonderful because I didn't want to form a company. I wanted to do how we do it in Canada, where if I put out a production, all actors would come and audition and the best man would get into the play. I never really wanted it to form a company of my own. I wanted it all people in Grenada. If you think you're talented, come audition. So when I did that, everybody came. It was an ensemble of I think it's like over 100 people. I produced that show because we had Youth Quake, and we had dancers, and we had people from Heritage, from even had from Family. People like that all came to do that production. But then after a while, I realized that in Grenada, theater companies tend to stick to their companies, right? And as an actor, as a director and a producer, as an actor, I always tell my actors to try and work with other people because that's how you grow. You cannot stay in the same calabash. This is just my way of thinking, right? So I try and encourage them to go out and do things and learn and come back with it. And then I started writing plays in Grenada and producing things like the carnival shows and stuff. And then people ask me, bring a band, bring a carnival band. I say, carnival is theater, so why not? I've never brought a band in my life, but my mind is theater. I think Broadway, I think big. If ever I do a play in Grenada, I don't think Grenada. Any play I do in Grenada should be able to leave Grenada with a quality and take it, and I can plant it in Toronto, in New York, London, and it can be a hit, So when I do these things, I don't think here, I think big for Grenada. So I brought the Carnival Band, through with my friend, the late Margaret Payne. And then that's when I introduced Moko Jumbies again in 2007, when I brought Out of the Forest, and we won Band of the Year. And Moko Jumbies, there were no Moko Jumbies in Grenada in 2007, but the following year, there's a group in Guelph who started classes, which was wonderful. So now we have tons of Moko Jumbies. So I did that for 12 years. And then Ivan came, but I was Ivan. And then I wrote, things everybody know,
So
that's my life in a nutshell, I've done movies, I've done films, but there's no place like wanting to be where you love and do your work, And it's unfortunate because here we still take the arts and the performing arts as something as a hobby, And that really frustrates me that at this point in life that we don't have a national theater in this country or a national company. Because I'm working right now, I mentor every Thursday in the gardens. I mentor about 10 young people in theater, And when I look, and they're so enthusiastic, and the reason why I give them so much is because they want it, They phone me up, Mr. King's Douglas, you're coming, don't forget, and that kind of stuff. But then I go, where do they go from there? Where do they go? And that's what they want to do. And there should be somewhere where they can aspire to, like the National Theatre Company or something of that nature. So I don't know. We have been asking for this for the longest while. But first, for those things to happen, Blossom, is that you must have people who love it, who has a passion for it. Ministry of Culture, it's just, culture is just not, culture is everything. It's food, is this, is that, But we have to find a government, or who, I'll keep saying this forever, who love the arts, It's not a side thing. It's not only on Independence you see stuff. It's not only on May Day you see stuff. It's not only in that sort of stuff. Art, it's part of the culture. It's part of the norm. It's part of the psyche of a people, because we all are split half. We have that in us. And there are young people who want to do this, who don't want to be a lawyer or a doctor, who are practicals. I'm a practical. I don't have a GC subject. I don't have an O-level subject, but I have 12 books in different languages across the world. You see, but it's your enthusiasm and your passion and what you want to do. This is all I've done in my life. I've never had a 9-to-5 job in my life, because all I've done is theater. Again, you have to be, theater is very unpredictable. You might not work for 6 months, So again, you have to be smart enough to, when you're working, you save your money for when you're not working, So my dream is to see a theater company in Grenada, or see a theater, a performing arts center. And the people at BE, you have to love, you have to want it. Like a minister of culture should be the vision. They should have that vision, he or she. If they travel, that's me. That's why Gary, I remember in Gary in 1967, Gary went to Canada and he saw the Expo 67. He said, oh, we can do that. And in 69, we had the Expo 69, that was one of the biggest hits in the whole region, So that's the kind of vision I'm talking about, If a minister of culture goes away, the main thing they should be doing is to see what's new out there. Go to Broadway, see plays, open your mind, and so you can take these things and come back to Grenada and be inspired, The people in culture, you have to think out of the box, You have to. It has to be in the schools. It cannot be a side subject. It has to be something that when they leave this school, this is their living. This is what they do. And I refuse. There's a difference in people who do this as a hobby. There's some people who love to just go up and sing and dance and that kind of stuff. But there are people, this is what they live and do and breathe. This is their spirit in them, right? And that has to be respected, right? So you do not ask an artist who this is their living, this different, to come and do things for free. We have to get out of that mentality. This is a profession. You cannot, just because you ask a lawyer, you go to the doctors and you have an operation, you're trying to raise money to have the operation. But when it comes to the artist or the performer, it's so-and-so, check him out. He can do something for us. Or I do not cater to that, and I have no apologies, right? If you can't respect my work, don't come to me, right? I'm plain and blank, right? And another thing, is that they bring the foreigners. They respect foreigners more than they do us, and that irritates me, because many a time I've been to lectures and I've been to things in this country, and I'm going, we can do that. I can do that. I can lecture that. I can do that. But they pay them tons of money. They put them up. And for you, they want to give you a glass of juice and a packet, that sort of thing. So as you can see how passionate I am for it, and policy has to be made. And anybody's in culture is not a little thing you do, because you're dealing with people's life and you're dealing with a heritage of a people and a country, and it has to be preserved.
In establishment of a national theatre, what role can you play? Can you lead that charge? What do you need to help you lead that charge? Because there are other people around in theatre, but they're not making that move.
Yeah, but the National Theatre has to come from the government. It's like the National Theatre of Jamaica has a National Dance Theatre and stuff. It has to be sponsored by the government, paid by the government. The actors have to have a salary. This is what they do. It's not something they come in at 4 to 5. They get a monthly salary, and all they do is train from 9 to 5. And this is what they do. So you have 10 people in the company, you have 12 people in the company, and these are the people who will be producing shows, giving shows throughout the year at Independence, or traveling to represent Grenada, like the National Theatre of Jamaica, the Dance Theatre of Jamaica, in Trinidad, that kind of stuff, So it's not me to create a national theatre. I create my own little theatre, like Chris and Urias, they create their own little theatre, trying to create, because we're the only ones. Without the theatres, without us, there's no training for actors. They have nowhere to go. In Canada, you can apply for a grant to write a play. Because you think I write a play for 4, 5, 6 months, I'm not making any money. I'm self-employed, right? So in Canada, you can apply for a grant to help you get by, to pay your rent, to pay food and stuff while you create and while you write, right? But the companies here, if we don't exist, there is nothing for young actors, directors, writers. We are the schools, right? And that's why theater should be cherished. Theater is totally different. I'm talking about Soca Monarch and Dimash Grant, stuff like this. It's a totally different genre, right? Because here you're creating, establishing writers and directors, people to work backstage, to create costumes, set designers. So it's a whole wealth of careers that's there. And there are people who would love to do it, but they don't see it. I look at every billboard in town. It's all soca artists. Why don't you have a billboard of a writer? Why don't you have a billboard of an artist or a playwright or somebody who's, So young people seeing, hey, man, that's important. I want to be that. They don't always not everybody wants to be a soca artist. I'm not putting on soca artists. I love soca artists, but that's one genre of the performing arts. There's the calypso. There are people who are doing gospel. There are people who are doing jazz. There are people who pop. I mean, if you go around Grenada, the talent in this country is incredible. So I look at sponsors, and sponsors will come to you and they will say, oh, I love your work. I love your work. It is so great. And then you go to them for sponsorship and it's like pulling teeth. I'm being very honest. So it gets frustrating for the artist, and then you just end up doing your own little thing, because you just don't want to go through that process over and over. In Toronto, my play, I'd be told because it was so successful, I don't have to go beg. You see what I'm trying to say? They say, oh, that's Richardo Kings Douglas. His show was successful. It can move on to something else. We know his work. We respect him. Bam, bam, bam. Bring him on board. But here, every time it's like starting over.
It's like fighting. You have to tug and pull and.
Yes, and then if you meet the wrong person at the desk, they leave that there forever on your desk, and the head person don't see it, and the head, and I just go, I don't need that. I just don't need that kind of stuff. So that's why I do, my stuff is far and few between. There's one producer I love to work with from Carols by Candlelight, that's Richardo, because he thinks like me. He's into Broadway. He's into, if I give him an idea, he just goes with it. He knows it, and that's the kind of thing I need. And that's the kind of stuff culture needs, that you come with these brilliant ideas and they go, wow, great idea. Let's go with it. Before Blossom, I did Sparky the musical, and I did Uncle Gary, because nobody did anything on Uncle Gary. Remember, you worked with me on Kidnap Love. Don't forget that.
Yes, I remember Kidnap Love too.
Kidnap Love. Uh-huh. Uncle Gary, nobody was celebrating Uncle. We're coming up to the 40th anniversary. So I wrote, it was a year of hard work and study, a year. And it was a big success, and we did it at Trade Center, the story of Uncle Gary from the time he started the independence, right? And I remember going to ministry, education and stuff, and saying, listen, Mr. Ricky Bidder, who's a wonderful supporter of the arts, is willing, when the play is finished, is willing to keep the set up. So secondary schools can come and see this play. Nothing. Because that is so inspiring for kids to get out of the school environment and come and be inspired. Do you know what it's like to come and you have never been to the theater? Some kids have never been to the theater. To sit in the theater, the lights go down and the magic comes up on the stage and you're just blown away. Nothing happened. I did another musical called Sparky for young kids. It's about believing in yourself. I went again to ministry. Nothing. They loved the idea. Great idea. Nothing came out of it. So these are the things I'm saying. We need people who would go, wow, that's a great idea. How can we capitalize on this thing? How can we bring it to the youth? Because it's positive, it's inspiring, it can change minds and stuff like that. So these are the things that bother me. I wish I wish I was a millionaire. I would just go out and do whatever I want to do. Or in a position where I can say A, B, C, D, F, G, But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Because when people come and work with me, I don't settle for mediocrity. And if you can't be on my shift, I don't care. You get off, right? Because my shows and whatever I do, I can't be perfect. There's nothing perfect, but it has to be of a standard and a quality that can go anywhere. It is not because we are Grenada or we're doing something in Guelph or St. George's or whatever it is. It has to be Papa, like, that kind of thing, Vicky, So people who hire me to do stuff, they know what they're going to get because I'm the kind of producer. I'm a director, I'm a choreographer, I'm a dancer, I'm a light designer, I'm a set designer. So when you get me, I'm not a stage manager. I give you concept, I give you vision, I know the music, I know the kind of dance I want because I'm a choreographer, so I can create my own dance works. If I don't want to do that, I hire a dance company and say, this is what I need at this point. This is what I need at this point. It is my vision, but it's a collaboration of everybody, but it always has to be one person's vision. You see? So when you hire me to do anything, I am coming from all different directions. That's the kind of producer I am. So therefore, I'm telling you point blank. So when I say you have to pay for that, because this is what I've studied. This is what I've done all my life for 45 years, So you're not getting one person doing that, one person doing that, because it never comes together in Grenada like that. It comes together by guess sometimes. I'm amazed, And so I just think we have to raise, and right now in this pandemic now, a lot of artists, they can't afford to do anything. They're lost. It is so sad. I'm working on stuff, but the singers and even in Toronto, Broadway's closed. Broadway's supposed to be opening in September. Most of the theatre companies in Toronto, all the theatres are dark, meaning it's closed, and artists are suffering there too. But again, there's help in there in Canada. The government gives them money, just, for monthly thing, even if it's $500, it helps. You can apply for that sort of thing, But the artists here, and I don't know how they're surviving, those who play in the nightclubs and the hotels and stuff, It's really, really hard. So we need that love of the arts, and we need, we have 10 stadiums. We have so many stadiums around the place. I wish it was 10 theaters. I'd be so happy, But I'm not knocking sports again. This is me. I'm an artist. I'm fighting for my art. If I was a doctor, I'd be fighting for the mental health or the health. So I make no excuses. But we need someone who think like us, who in their heart is an artist. You cannot take somebody from agriculture and put them as Ministry of Culture. They don't know unless you surround them, by people who can inspire them and say, this is how things should be. But if you have somebody who doesn't know anything about culture and they're head of culture, it makes no sense to me.
You mentioned you're currently working on things. What does the immediate future look like for Richardo? What books can we expect? A play you have coming up? What's in the pipeline?
Okay, right now I'm working with a theatre company in Toronto via Zoom. It's a new theatre. It's not a new. It's a young people's theatre company called No Strings, and the Canadian actors are auditioning, and I'm directing it via Zoom, and I'm working with the playwright. Alexis-Welsh, she's from St. Lucia, a writer in Toronto. And I'm dramaturging the script with her, meaning I'm editing it with her, working in the characters, etc. So it's really quite fascinating because all of this we're doing on Zoom, right? And then all the actors in Toronto, and over 30 have sent in their auditions, and I have to choose which actor we're going to use. And then once we cast it, then I start directing on Zoom. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's fascinating. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's really incredible experience. And again, you're working with everybody outside there. And then I've been working on something for 3 years. I'm documenting, and I'm going to do a big presentation on it, on the Carnival Queens from 1945 to independence. What it was like in that era from 1945. How different as well. There was the colonial days, because Queen Show and Carnival in those days was totally different from what it is today. So it is fascinating. So I've been doing that for 3 years because I'm doing research trying to find the Carnival Queen pictures and people who have lost stuff in Janet and lost stuff in Ivan. It's really, really hard to find. I started just honoring the women who won, but then I decided if I can get pictures of the women who entered the competition, I would work on that. So that's what I'm working on. And I have pictures, Eleanor Lashley, Mrs. Lashley, she was a Carnival Queen in 45.
Yes, I know the name.
45. Mrs. Thompson, 41. So I have all these pictures. And in those days, there was no competition. They'll get on the stage and they'll vote you by ballot. say, oh, I like Blossom, and the ticket and the person with the most ballot would win, It's fascinating. And in those days, they would have a king with them. So the queen would choose a king to travel around Carnival with them, So it's fascinating. In the 60s, to go into the pavilion, the Queen Show was $6 to get in. The first prize for steel band, first prize was $200, Imagine that. So it's all this fast. That's what I'm working on. It's a fascinating project. And it's going to blow people away because there's a lot of racism in those days. Because not say racism, they're all Grenadians, but light-skinned girls were always winning, right? The dark-skinned girls never really won until 1963 with Florine Hope. When she won in 1960, she was the first black girl to win. And so there's a whole history of that I'm going to talk about, So it's going to be an incredible, it's called a classy affair. That's the name of the presentation. So they'll be on a big screen. So that's what I'm working on. So anybody out there who have any pictures of Carnival Queens in the 50s or 60s, and 40s, just call me up, yeah.
Somebody on the WhatsApp is inquiring, how can citizens donate or sponsor things in the theater? Keeping in mind that Grenada is a small place with a little bit of people. How can people contribute?
Well, how they can contribute, if you want, you can contribute to a specific theater company, right? Or, that's the only way you can do it, because there's no consolidated fund, for the theater, that kind of stuff. But if you say, you see people doing a play and you want to support, helping them with the sets. People can come and help with sets, to build sets or work backstage, Or if you want to learn to be in the theater, you can come and work along with me, while in the theater at rehearsal, so you get to observe that, I remember a couple of people when I used to do the dinner theater up on Private Cove. We ran for 3 years, and people would just donate money to us to help us buy costumes, that sort of thing. So that way you can donate, to help the theater. And just phone up directors, playwrights, and saying, how can I help? I need 5 tins of paint. I'd love to give you 5 tins of paint or 2 tins of paint. Sure, help us with some galvanized, whatever.
Somebody on Facebook, how can we get more people to show up to theater? I would kind of tweak it a bit, because when it comes to plays and dramas, stage plays, you usually see the same faces, the same suspects, as we refer to it. How can we get more people to come out and actually witness the magic that is a theater play? Because it's really a different world. And I'm not just saying that as an actress myself, wink, wink. Yeah. But how can we get more people to come out?
Because it has to start by letting the kids in secondary schools and so have that experience. Once you have that experience, it's going to be part of you. If they have 5,000 kids coming out of school and have never seen a play, that's sad. That is sad that there's no outing where kids can go to see a play. So that's where you start. You start by bringing the schools having. When I was growing up, we used to go to the movies at college and stuff. We used to be lined up. We used to go see 10 Commandments, all these shows in the Empire Cinema. But it was a big outing. You remember these things, So that's one way of getting people out to see it. And again, if the theater is celebrated as the other things in Grenada, like the soca and the this and the that. Sorry, guys, I'm not knocking soca. I love soca. But if it is celebrated and cherished like that in the ministry and in tourism and in stuff like that, then people will say, hey, yeah. And again, it is so expensive to put on a play. To rent a space is a lot of money for ads. So for young theater companies, there are only 3 theater companies. Sometimes the ad costs more than a costume, and sometimes there are only 30 people, 40 people coming, unlike a soca show or a foreign show coming in is like 10, 15,000, 5,000 people, and they make back their money. But we struggle and we depend on sponsorships to help us, so it's really, really hard. So therefore, I think there should be breaks for I'm just using our companies. There should be break for theater companies in Grenada, even in VAT, instead of coming and taking 15, 10%, we'll break on them because we are giving back. We are giving back by teaching the youth. We are giving back by giving a stage for actors and directors to perform, and we're doing that for free, so at least they can say, okay, let's, give them a break on that. There's an artist fee, if you take an ad, unlike a big company that has, 10,000 people in one night making back millions of dollars, there's a fee for these people like the Arcade Theatre and Family and Heritage, and other companies that they can survive because we don't make money. My show house is like what, $40, $50, 50 people, and then you have to pay VAT on that sometimes, so it's really, really hard, But the nice thing about it, why we do it is because we love it. Why I do it is because I love it, I'd rather, my father always told me, grow old doing what you love to do. And that's what I intend to do with my life. He said, if you're just cutting the grass, you grow old doing what? And you'll be a very happy man.
I like that advice. We're quickly out of time, Mr. Keys Douglas, but
what?
You understand? When's the next book?
The next book, not right now. Right now, I want to focus on this project. I'd like to turn this into a lovely picture book as well, but the presentation of that, I don't even have the zest to write about COVID as I did for Ivan. Because COVID is so tragic and I can't laugh at it. There's nothing, unless I really give a story that's meaningful, but there's so much tragedy around it. At this point, I don't want to write about it right now, maybe later on, So I'm sitting and hoping God puts an idea into my head or something you might say, Blossom, ooh, that triggered an idea, And that's why I go on the bus and I'm constantly taking notes and not, walking downtown. I don't take the bus. Not because I don't like the bus, it's because I'm afraid of those drivers. I panic when they're driving. Every time they drive, I say, drop me, I just can't deal with it. But my ears are always open. So little things people would say that I would never think of as a writer. Never. But you might say it and I'm like, oh my God, that is a gem, what that person just said. Let me take that and maybe later on I can put it in a character's mouth on the stage, So right now I'm just working on the it's a classy affair, the Queen thing, and doing this project in Canada.
Okay. How many books
I'm working with the kids. I work with the kids, not kids, the young people.
Young people. How many books have you written, and do you have a favorite?
I have written 14 children's books, right? And no, I don't really have a favorite because they're all very different, like the Nutmeg Princess, as you can see, they're all in my house, like a museum, they're all around me. They're all very different. And every book has to say something. I just don't write a book for the sake of. Every book has a message in it. like Freedom Child of the Sea, which was just celebrated in Canada for 200 years of slavery. It was nominated for the book for schools. And talks about slave trade. How do you teach the kids about slave trade? Nutmeg Princess about believing in yourself. Grandpa's Visit is about too much technology. Get together with family. Laja Bless and the Babies. It's about our culture, about preserving our culture, who we are. Because now we you ask a kid about Lazarus and they don't know. And you have to preserve these things and not make it a museum piece, make it a part of them. So it's not something special. So growing up, kids get hearing it in their homes, Like if you come into my house and you have the phone here, there's no phone on the table. If you come to have dinner with me, you don't bring your phone on my table. This is our time, our moment. I don't want you checking. Therefore, I'm not that important. Who is more important to you is the person you're waiting for, That's an insult to me. So I don't allow that if you come to visit me, And the first thing people come into your house, hey, Richardo, how you do? What's your Wi-Fi? I say, I beg your pardon. Did you come here for your Wi-Fi or you come to see me, So these are the little things that we are losing touch with who we are as humans and we need that. And COVID has even made us further apart. Not only technology, the COVID, we can't hug, we can't touch. That's why live theater is so important. You can never get an experience of sitting there live and experiencing that with you and the actor. It is the most incredible feeling for the audience and for the actor.
I endorse that statement fully. Being an audience member in a theater company is an experience that I wish everybody could get. I agree with you on that. Ricky,
you were great in Kidnap Love. I remember that.
Thank you.
You got to show that. I have that. I have it on video, so we can.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Ricky, I totally enjoyed this conversation. Loved hearing your thoughts on how we can improve theatre and improve the arts and how we can get our people more involved in it. Appreciate your appearance this morning. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Blossom. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And please, people, grow old doing what you love to do. And one more quickly before I go, I keep, there's a last talking to the young people. I said, in 1890, our fathers, don't buy a car. Invest in piece of land. The young people today, they're gone and they're buying $80,000, $90,000 cars. Why? To just say, I have a car and I'm driving around, I can play my music loud. No, that car disappears once it starts depreciating, once it leaves the ground. Take that money and invest it in half an acre of land. And I keep telling every young person I buy, forget car, take bus, Pope ride. Eventually you'll get the car. But don't come out of school and want to buy a car. Invest in piece of land. In the next 5 years, you can use that for education. You can use that to do whatever you want, So that's my advice, because the Jews and the Indians and so they think that way. That's how they bring their kids up. Sometimes we make money just for the weekend. We save money for the weekend. That's how we do it. Like I say, like my dad always says, any money you get, quarter of it goes into the bank. If you get $1, you save 25 cents. And that's how I've been living all my life. Every check I get, whatever it is, I put aside quarter. I don't need 5 shoes. I don't need 10 this. I don't need to be I don't go to VIPs. I don't have to go to every function, pay $500 for what? For a glass of juice and some hors d'oeuvres? No. Save your money and put it into you. Make you better. Feel good about yourself. You don't need an emblem, a brand name. I don't wear brand names. Brand name to be somebody. Once you take out that brand name at night, that brand, who remains it? Who remains at home? You, not the brand name. You. So I keep telling kids that save your money. And anyway, I can go on.
No, but that's sound advice, and trust me, that's sound advice, and I'm hoping people would actually follow. Thank you so much, Ricky. Enjoy your day.
Love you.
And I hope everything continues to stay how it is following yesterday. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
God bless.
Cultural Ambassador Richardo Keynes Douglas appreciated this conversation so very much, hearing their thoughts and learning more about them and the way they're thinking and their dreams and aspirations. It's always a pleasure. So we thank him so much. Now let's get ready to join the BBC. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Remember, there's no To The Point this morning, as we have the broadcast of Parliament sitting that is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. So there's no To The Point this morning. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, everybody. Bye-bye.